My name is Elena. I am 38 years old, and today I have nothing left. I am sitting on a cold, hard park bench. Beside me, my two children, Toby and Lily, are sleeping. They are shivering in the freezing night air. I take off my thin jacket and cover them, but it is not enough. The wind feels like it is biting my skin. Just a few weeks ago, I had a warm home. I had a husband named David. I had a future. I never thought my life would end up this way. I look at my tired, dirty hands. I look at the empty, dark street. I ask myself, how did I get here? I am so tired. I am broken, but I cannot sleep. If I sleep, who will protect my children? Life was never easy for me. I grew up alone. My parents passed away when I was very young. I did not have brothers or sisters. I did not have grandparents. I was always the girl who sat alone at school. I always dreamed of having a real family. Then I met David. He was charming and very handsome. He told me, "Elena, I will take care of you. You will never be lonely again." I believed him. We got married. When Toby and Lily were born, I thought my life was perfect. I was a happy housewife. I cooked. I cleaned. I loved them with all my heart. But David began to change over the last year. He became distant. He came home late. He smelled like strange perfume. He stopped looking at me. I tried to talk to him, but he only shouted. "You are boring, Elena," he said. "I need more in my life." Then came the worst day of my life. It was a cold Tuesday evening. The air was freezing. David came home, but he was not alone. The young, beautiful woman was standing with him. He looked at me with cold eyes. "Pack your bags," he said. I froze in place. "What?" I whispered. "Pack your bags and get out," David said loudly. "I want a divorce. This house belongs to her now." I could not breathe. "David, please," I cried. "Where will we go? Think about the children. It is snowing outside." But he did not care. He threw our suitcases out the door. He pushed me out and slammed the door shut. Click. That was the sound of my life breaking into pieces. I stood on the sidewalk with Toby and Lily. My poor children were crying. "Daddy, Daddy," they called. But the lights in the house went out. We were all alone. We had no family to help us and no friends to call. It was just us against the cold, dark city. We walked to the bus station. I counted the money in my pocket. I had some savings, but it was not much. David had control of all the bank accounts. "Mama, I am hungry," Toby said softly. "Mama, I am cold," Lily whispered. I hugged them tight. "Do not worry," I lied to them. "Everything will be okay." I knew I had to find a place to stay immediately. I needed to find a safe place for my children to stay immediately. I found a small apartment listed online, and I thought it was our new start. The landlord asked for $500 in cash right away. I was desperate to get my children out of the cold, so I gave him my very last savings. He gave me a key, but when we arrived at the address, the key did not fit into the lock. I knocked on the door until my hands hurt, and a stranger finally opened it. "Who are you?" the man asked. I showed him my rental paper with shaking hands. The man shook his head and said, "Lady, you have been scammed. Go away." My heart stopped beating for a second. My money was gone and my savings were empty. I fell to my knees on the dirty pavement. I wanted to scream, but I had no voice left. We spent that first night in a 24-hour fast food restaurant. The manager was a kind man, and he let us stay in a corner booth until the morning. The next day, reality hit me very hard. I had no money, no home, and no food. But I am a mother. I cannot quit because my children are counting on me. I found a job working as a night cleaner in a very large office building. The pay was very low, but I had no other choice if we wanted to survive. Every night I left Toby and Lily in a cheap motel room. I paid for the room day by day with the little money I earned from cleaning. I went to work and scrubbed floors for 12 long hours. I cleaned toilets and carried heavy trash bags until my back ached constantly. My hands became red and cracked from the cold water and the chemicals. I was so hungry, but I bought bread and milk for my children every day. I only drank water to keep my stomach feeling full. "Mama, eat with us," Lily said one evening, holding out a piece of her bread. I smiled weakly at her. "I am not hungry, sweetie. I already ate at work." It was a lie. My stomach hurt from hunger every single minute of the day. I felt dizzy whenever I stood up too fast, but I had to save every penny. If I missed even one payment, the motel owner, Mr. Henderson, would throw us out. He was a cruel, mean man who did not care about children at all. One night, while I was cleaning the front steps of the office, the wind was like ice. I saw an old woman sitting on a park bench nearby. She was shaking very hard. She had very thin clothes and no hat to protect her from the freezing air. Many people walked right past her. They looked at their phones or at the ground. They ignored her, but I could not. I knew exactly how that cold felt. I walked over to her. Her eyes were cloudy and she looked very lost and confused. "Are you okay, ma'am?" I asked softly. She did not speak, she just shivered. Her lips were turning blue. I reached for my neck and touched my red wool scarf. It was the only thing I had left from my own mother. It was my most precious treasure. It was soft and smelled like sweet memories of a better time. I looked at the old woman, and then I looked at my favorite scarf. I did not think twice. I took it off and wrapped it gently around her neck. The cold wind hit my skin immediately, but I didn't care about the chill. "Please take this," I whispered. "It will keep you warm tonight." The old woman touched the soft wool and smiled a small, trembling smile. "Thank you," she whispered. I went back to work. I was freezing, but my heart felt a little warmer than it had in weeks. 2 weeks later, life got even harder. Mr. Henderson raised the motel rent. "Prices are going up," he said with a nasty grin on his face. I worked extra hours and stopped eating almost completely to pay him. I gave every bit of food to my children. I became very thin and very pale. It was 3 in the morning on a very long Tuesday night. I was scrubbing the cold floor in the main lobby of the office building. My body felt very heavy, like it was made of stones. The room started to spin around and around. I stopped and held onto my mop so I would not fall. Just breathe, Elena, I told myself. You cannot fall down. You must stand up for your children. But the black spots in my eyes grew bigger and bigger. The sound of the cleaning machines started to sound very far away. I thought of Toby and Lily. They were waiting for me to come home. Toby, Lily, I whispered their names. Then my legs gave up. The mop fell from my hands with a loud clatter. The floor rushed up to meet my face, and everything went black. I heard voices, but they sounded very quiet and strange. She collapsed. Call for help, someone shouted. Then there was only darkness and complete silence. Beep, beep, beep. I heard a slow, steady sound. I smelled something sharp, like medicine and clean sheets. I opened my eyes slowly. The light in the room was much too bright. I blinked and saw a white ceiling above me. I felt a very soft bed under my back. Suddenly, panic exploded in my chest. I sat up very quickly. My children, where are my children? I cried. A nurse ran into the room and put her hand on my shoulder. Please, ma'am, you must calm down, she said gently. You are safe now. No, I cried. My children are all alone at the motel. I have to go to them. They are right here, the nurse said with a smile. They are in the waiting room. They are safe and warm. I fell back onto the soft pillows and cried tears of relief. I was safe, but then a new fear gripped my heart. This was a private hospital. It looked very expensive. I have no money, I whispered to the nurse. I cannot pay for this hospital bed. Please let me leave. Do not worry about the bill, a deep, kind voice said from the door. I turned my head and saw a tall man in a sharp gray suit. He looked very wealthy and serious. Beside him, in a wheelchair, sat an old woman. My eyes grew very wide. Around her neck was my red wool scarf. The man pushed the wheelchair closer to my bed. His face was very kind. Do you remember her? He asked softly. I looked at the old woman and nodded my head. Yes, I said. I saw her outside the office building. She was so cold. The man took a deep breath. This is my mother, Mrs. Higgins. She has a sickness called Alzheimer's. She gets very confused. That night, she wandered away from our home. We were looking for her everywhere. We were so scared for her. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. The doctor said she could have died in the cold that night, but she didn't because a kind person gave her a warm scarf. He pointed to the red scarf. When we found her, she would not let go of it. She told us a kind angel gave it to her. We checked the security cameras at the office. We saw you. I covered my mouth and started to cry again. I just did not want her to be cold, I whispered. You saved her life, the man said firmly. My name is James and I owe you everything, but I have nothing, I told him. I am just a cleaner. James smiled. The bill is already paid, and I want to help you more. James sat down on a chair by my bed. He reached into his pocket and took out a thick, white envelope. Zelina, I do not want to just give you money, James said softly. Money can run out very quickly. I want to give you and your children a real future. He opened the envelope and showed me a piece of paper. It was a contract for a new job. He needed a manager for the hospital kitchen and the dining area. It is a very hard job, he explained to me. It needs someone who is organized, careful, and very kind. The job came with a good salary and health insurance for me and my children. But the best part was a small apartment near the hospital. It was a place for the staff to live in. I stared at the paper for a long time. My hands were shaking so much I could hardly hold it. The real job, a home for my children, is this really happening to us? I asked in a tiny whisper. It is all yours, Elena, James said. If you want it, the job is waiting for you right now. I looked at the door. I saw Toby and Lily waiting for me. They looked so small and so tired. Then I looked at James and his sweet mother. Yes, I said. Yes, please, I will work so hard. Life did not become easy overnight. I had to get better first, and I had to learn many new things. But I worked hard every single day. I woke up every morning with a happy purpose in my heart. 3 months later, we moved into our new apartment. It was small, but it was very warm and safe. There were real beds with soft, fluffy blankets. There was a kitchen where I could cook hot soup. I remember the very first night in our new home. The air was quiet and very peaceful. Toby and Lily were sleeping soundly in their own beds. They were not shivering anymore. I sat by the window and looked at the bright city lights. I was no longer afraid of the dark. James became a very good friend to our family. His mother, Mrs. Higgins, visited us very often. She still wore my mother's red scarf, even when she was inside the warm house. One day I went to the store. I bought myself a new scarf. It was a beautiful blue color. But I knew in my heart that the red scarf was exactly where it was supposed to be. I lost a husband who did not love me, but I found my dignity and my strength. I lost a house, but I found a real home for my children. I learned something very important. No matter how poor you are, you can always choose to be a kind person to others. You always have something to give. It could be a warm smile or an old red scarf. Kindness is the only money that never loses its value. It is never, ever wasted. Kindness always comes back to you when you need it the most in your life. I was once a sad wife. I was a very tired cleaner, but now I am just Elena. I am a proud mother, and I am finally happy. Thank you for listening to my story. Remember, kindness can create real miracles. It can change the whole world.